Hey, we just wrapped up a great conversation with Ed Schudel over at RGS Title and Long and Foster Settlement Companies. And, you know, this is a perfect time for Ed to come in and talk to us. You know, last week we had Joey Stidman on, and he talked about how his experience and his interaction with social media really brought him into a dark place and had some difficult times in his life. And today with Ed, we're talking about all the great positive aspects of social media. So I hope you enjoy our conversation. Here we are, another episode of the Go With John show. I'm sitting down again today for a repeat visit with Ed Schudel with RGS Title and Long and Foster Companies. Welcome back, Ed.
Yeah, thank you for having me, John. Yeah. It's always a pleasure, and I was looking forward to this again.
Awesome. Yeah, we had a lot of fun last time, and I think I'm glad you're back, and there's always so much to talk about. So one of the things we were just chatting about was we actually have a really interesting, you're an interesting guest, but we have an interesting guest coming up that we're going to be talking to next week, who is a professional boxer. And you said, hey, I've got a great uncle who's in the
Boxing Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so tell us, just before we get started talking about social media, tell us about your great uncle and how did he end up in the Boxing Hall of Fame?
Yeah, so on my mom's side, my mom's Italian-American, full Italian-American, and Angelo Palange. And it was my grandfather's brother, so my mom's uncle, so my great uncle. Yeah. He dropped out of high school in the 20s, and he had a great voice. It seems to run in the family.
Right.
And he was into boxing.
Yeah.
And he became one of the most prolific boxing announcers during that era, called the Joe Louis fight, Rocky Marciano, and we were able to pull him up on YouTube recently and hear him.
Right.
I never got to meet him. He passed away before I came around. And yeah, so he was called all the big fights, and he's one of a few people who's in the Boxing Hall of Fame. And quick story about that.
Yeah.
Because it's the 50th anniversary of Smokin' Joe Frazier fighting Ali.
Right.
They showed that on ESPN this week.
Yeah.
Well, Smokin' Joe Frazier a few years back was at Knockout Abuse. The event and charity,
yeah.
And they have fight night, and I wanted to meet the champ. There was no way you were going to get near him, so I was able to grab one of his handlers, an older gentleman. I said, "Hey, my great uncle is in the Boxing Hall of Fame. It mean a lot to meet the champ."
Right.
He goes, "Hey, kid, who's your great uncle?" I said, "Angelo Palange." He goes, "Get out of here." And he was an older gentleman. He goes, "Come with me." And they moved the crowd, and I have a photo of me holding a fist up with Smokin' Joe Frazier giving me an autograph.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I love boxing. I think it's going to be great that you have a well-known person who's living amongst us who's a great boxer.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to chatting with him, and we're going to keep it a secret for now.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Whoops.
Yeah, because we're actually this episode's going to drop before he does, so we'll figure out how to work that in. But I got to tell you, this is exactly my motivation for wanting to do this podcast. It is every day of my life. I'm walking around and I meet all these. I've known you for years and years and years and years. I've known you for 15 years at least, maybe more.
Yes.
And I never knew that about you. And when you stop to talk to the people that are around you and hear their stories, every single person I meet has some amazing story about something, and they never seem to end. And that's why I wanted, to share it with my kids, to share it with my sphere, to share it with the Stanley Martin buyers and the home buyers and sellers that I work with. There's all these interesting people out there, and it's really amazing. So Ed, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
So we wanted to get back together again because at the end of our last episode, we said, wow, we should really spend some time talking about social media because we are a business-oriented podcast, and we want to bring a lot of great information out to folks who want to grow their businesses and excel in the digital world and the analog world. So one of the things that I think are really important that you're an expert at is social media marketing. So tell us, how did you get to be interested in that field?
With me, my background was teaching, which I'd shared once before, and it's all about education, and knowledge is power. But social media, to me, is about connecting and sharing stories like we just did about my great uncle, and like you do all the time with your podcast. Yeah. So when I saw this, and it was back in 2008, I mean, I grabbed one of the first Twitter handles. I own a 3-letter domain name. I thought, this is powerful, because I really think it started back from my high school days at W.T. Woodson. I was the editor-in-chief of the newspaper. I played basketball, but I like to write and I like to connect.
Right.
And social media is about sharing and educating news, right? Educating about the home buying process. So I thought, this is me, and it just came really naturally to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and you've got some really good tips and tricks that work really well, and I'm looking forward to hearing some of those. So, tell us, before we get into that, what is your role within the Long and Foster organization with regard to the social media training?
So, John, I'm director of social media for Long and Foster settlement companies. So
okay.
For the whole Mid-Atlantic region, my job is to educate realtors on the power of social media, how they can use it so they can sell more houses, find more houses. And that's what I've been doing now for 10 years in this role.
Yep. Okay. So when you get up in front of a group of real estate professionals, what do you tell them they need to do with their social media?
Great question. One, you got to do it. You got to do it. And I found a quote I had on my LinkedIn, and I was updating it recently, but it's one I've always felt that is powerful. Don't make social media your own personal paparazzi.
Right.
Okay? And then more importantly, you got to get off your island.
Right.
Now think about that, right? Now if you post only to your friends, if I only post to my friends, there's a very small number. Like on Facebook, it's only 3%, up to 3% of your friends will see that post. So what do? I tweeted something out the other day. It was Chuck Bell on Channel 4.
Right.
Okay, and he made some reference to a song, Blinded by the Light, from the 70s, and the millennial co-hosts were making fun of him.
Right.
And I kind of felt sorry for them. They had no idea what the song was. So I went on Twitter, this is okay, and I grabbed the lyrics from the song, Manfred from whatever the guy's name is, and I put the lyrics, and I said, hey, don't worry about those silly millennials. He loved it. During the commercial break, retweeted it, because I wrote to him, right? Yep. And 69,000 people saw it in 2 days.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, what do people need to do with social media? Get off your island. Right. Don't just post in your world. Right. Got to post it in other places, tag other people, ask a question. Yeah. And you got to do it.
Yeah. So it is the what is it? Right, you got to do it, and I think that's a big thing. So, think back 5 years ago, and it's funny. I meant to post something. I don't know if you saw. I actually said, "Ed, remember this?" on
I missed
Facebook,
it. Was it about Miami?
There was nothing there. So I went back and I looked at it this morning. So what that was
tell them.
What it was 5 years ago, you and I went to the ACC championship basketball game down in DC. Remember that? Yeah. So that was 5 years ago. And then the thing popped up on Facebook and it says, do you want to share your memory and blah, blah, blah. So I said, share, write something about it. So I said, Ed, remember this, and then post. And of course, wasn't paying attention. And the only thing that posted was, Ed, remember this. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing it up is you and I were talking about social media and how to make it work 5 years ago, and we were going down to this game, and we were talking all the way down about how to do it, and then you and I were walking to Verizon Center at the time, and we saw this bus go by. That was with
the mascots.
With the mascots all in the
from
it was
the
a
tournament.
double-decker bus where the second floor was open, and you said, John, watch this. And there was a huge banner on the side of the bus. And it was an ACC banner, tournament banner, and you said, watch this. And you took a picture of it and you tweeted it and you tagged ACC. Do you remember what else you tagged? I mean, you tagged.
And then ACC, NCAA, hashtag March Madness. I vividly remember
you just
this
tagged,
now.
Yeah. So anyway, so then we go to the game. And you're watching your phone, and I can't remember.
It blew up.
And I was like, that is
the numbers.
Unreal. But you know what? It seems like such a simple, easy thing to do.
Right.
And we got. I mean, I can't remember, but I thought it was like hundreds of thousands of.
I totally forgot about that.
It was an amazing experience for me to see you do it right before my eyes, and it took 15 seconds. Now, how many times have I done that in the last 5 years? Zero. Right. And that's why you said you have to do it, and that's why I say, what is it, right? And how do you have the discipline and the structure to do it? So do you have any advice for folks on how do you do it? How do you have the discipline? Because I've seen you tweet things to Tyson's Corner Mall at Christmas time, right? You'll take a picture of the Christmas tree that's there. You'll tag the Tyson's Corner management company, and then they'll retweet your tweet. So the it is what I'm hearing from you is the it is not just getting on social media, posting things. The it is being creative, taking photos or messages and pushing those messages from you to some other organization in such a manner where they're going to retweet it.
Correct. So and that's getting off your island. And the it is also, the it is also don't be afraid. Right? If it goes flat and it doesn't get any likes, who cares?
Right.
Right? I think everyone's really worried they're going to be judged by what they put out. I saw that. Yes, I remember vividly with you walking down to the game and seeing that bus. And I'm always looking.
Yeah.
Okay? I couldn't take a picture, John. Up until 4 years ago, I have a brother, Tom, and he would call them Eddie photos. So Tom, he would say, oh, another Eddie photo. It'd be like you and then the whole sky. I was really bad at taking photos.
Right.
But I went on YouTube and I educated myself on how to take photos.
Right.
Now I get compliments. My own brother compliments me. So you have to put the fear aside and learn.
Yeah.
What is it you're good at in social media? It's got to be a photo. It's got to be a video.
Yeah.
You got to ask a question. Okay, that's what the it is.
Yeah.
And more importantly, you can't just put it out there on its own. You got to tag somebody, ask somebody. I asked Barbara Corcoran. Did I ever tell you this story?
No.
Barbara Corcoran, so from Shark Tank.
Right.
Just a few years ago, she was, 5-6 years ago, she was on an ABC special about $1 million homes. And it was a nationwide thing on 2020.
Yeah.
And so they said, tweet Barbara. You know, I said, Barbara, I live in Washington, D.C. area. I tag RGS title, right? And I tagged, other companies. And I said, we're all in this business. What 3 things do you like about our real estate market here? Boom, I got another blow up. Yeah. She responded directly. I like you have the government, you have monuments, you have museums. I mean, she just answered, and it just blew up. Same thing.
Right.
Take the chance, ask.
Right. So if you send a question to Barbara and she doesn't answer, what have you lost?
Right, and other people will see it. You might pick up somebody else, right? Somebody else might see it, and you learn. It's trial by error, right?
Right.
You learn that some things work, some don't.
Yeah. So now, what do you say to the folks that just go, you know what? I'm not a fan of Twitter. I don't really want to use Twitter. What other? Do you hear that a lot?
I do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I enjoy it because to me the brevity.
Yeah.
And what I enjoy, and I'll answer about the other ones. The reason why I like it is because you don't have to follow me in order to see something I wrote.
Right.
Right. Facebook a little harder.
Yeah.
Others, people love Facebook. They love Instagram, Snapchat. I mean, Twitch. They're gaming platforms. Reddit. Come on, look at the whole thing with the stock exchange.
That was crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And Reddit is the only one where you can vote up or down.
Right.
Think about that. It's the only social media platform that lets people say they like it or dislike it.
Right.
So what do I say to them? Find one. I mean, let's look at it this way. If you're looking for a home, you're looking for a great agent, realtor, and you want to find John. This is you have this presence. You're educating people. You're showing people, hey, I'm advanced. I'm evolving. I'm sharing, educating. I'm going to help you. That's what social media does. Lets you connect.
So let's define social media, and then let's take a break. So when you say social media, what are you, in your mind, referring to?
Connecting, entertaining, educating, venting, finding, and in my mind, like what platform comes first? Any that it really depends.
What are your top 5 platforms? So I think you probably already mentioned them, obviously, because they're at the top of your mind. But you're focused on Ed Schudel. You're focused on Twitter is your number 1, I think, because I hear you say tweet all the time, and
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. The other one's YouTube. I mean, come on, it's the number 2 search engine in the world.
Right. And a lot of folks don't realize about YouTube is that Google owns YouTube.
Correct.
And that really helps your SEO for your website is to have material on YouTube. We get a lot of traffic to our website through our YouTube videos. So it's
awesome.
That's an important one as well.
Yeah, the fifth one, give me some more time. Those are my
Sure.
top 4.
All right, sounds good. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with more conversation about social media with Ed Schudel. I'm John Jorgensen, and if you want to learn more about buying a home or selling your existing home, contact us through the show. We work with an incredible network of professionals who can help you get through the process smoothly. Again, that's gowithjohn.com. All right, so Ed, that was really good information. So I want to push on the some more, because in my mind, it's so easy for you to say, just do it, right? And it's so easy to say, take a picture and tweet it to the ACC and take a picture of the Christmas tree at Tyson's and, include these other people. And you've got all this stuff in your mind. But let's talk to the folks out there that aren't as dialed in as you are, right? Because you are dialed in. You knew right away, NCAA, ACC, right? I would have never even thought to take a picture of the bus in the first place. Never mind would I know who to tweet it out to. So for the folks out there that are probably more naive about this, like I am, what would you say to, like, what kind of tools can they put in their toolbox to have success with this type of social media marketing? Let's just talk about the Twitter and the tweeting and the tagging. Do you have some thoughts on what folks can do to get started? So, for example, if they go to the mall, should they have a list of hashtags for stores that might be at the particular mall where they might want to see something and tweet it out, a storefront or something? Do you have any thoughts like that?
I think it's broader. Everyone has a camera on their phone, right? That's what we all use them for.
Almost everyone. Yeah.
You've got to have photos. Content is king.
Right.
So you should always be taking photos. That's the it factor.
Yeah.
If you don't have the photo in
Right.
social media, it's not going to get looked at. It's not, or you don't have the video, it's not going to get watched.
Yeah.
So when you're out and about, I like to think of it as I'm a movie producer. And what's the scene? What's the set?
Right.
And when I go somewhere, I went to the post office today, right? Usually I walk down. I didn't. I drive today. If I see something that captures my attention, give you an example. Yesterday, this happened with the post office. Teresa, my sister, brought in one of her bulldogs, and he'd gone to the vet early in the morning. So I thought I'll help the dog out, take little Frankie out for a walk. We walk out on Beverly Road, and the mail carrier, she just stops. She's new.
Right.
And she goes, hey, she goes, I love your dog. I love your dog. She pulls over in the mail truck.
Right.
Has a dog treat for him. She goes to give the dog, and he loved it. And I
Right.
grabbed a picture of it.
Right.
And I tweeted it out, and I'll share it other places to the Postal Service and said,
Right.
thank you to all your mail carriers for what they do for us. And it was just so kind and nice of her to stop and say hello. That's your story.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
So how do you get your mind programmed to do that? It's as a real estate professional, you're running from one appointment to the next appointment to the next. I don't have time to even see the mail truck. I'm trying not to, right? I'm trying to get to my next meeting. So I think part of it for me is, how do you, it's a rhetorical question, right? As a real estate professional or any business owner, if you want to employ your methods of social media marketing, how do you frame your brain to be able to do that? Because you do all this stuff real time, and it literally takes you, that whole thing with the ACC took you 15 seconds, and you knew it was going to be big, and you go, watch this, right? And you knew right away. So for you, it's pretty simple, and I think that it is a really good technique, and it is a really cool thing to do. But I think it takes a certain mentality to be successful at it, and you probably get to take a lot of swings at the...
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
A lot of attempts.
It's right. If you're batting 250, 300, you're awesome. You're an all-star, right?
Yeah.
So I think to dial it down for people who are new to it or haven't done it, find something you really enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I started out with cars. I like cars and motorcycles.
Right.
So somebody might be into gardening, right? They might be into architecture. They might be into travel. And start there and get your photos, your video there.
Right.
And then work outward. And look at what other folks on social media are doing. I still am a firm believer in be you.
Yeah,
Just
of
be
course.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's only exactly.
Yeah. And put it out there. It's fun.
Yeah. So let's shift gears. Let's talk about Facebook a little bit, because that's a little bit different. So what kind of advice do you have for folks with regard to Facebook? So if you're a business professional or a real estate professional, you have your own personal page. Do you also recommend that you have a separate page for your business, or do you recommend just doing it all on one location?
I've been asked that for over 10 years, and it depends. For real estate folks, do what you're comfortable with, because I see, John, so many people that have both pages, and one supersedes the other one by far, just passes it. But I'd like to answer or start out with this. People are going to do business with people they trust. They trust, and they think to themselves, "What can this person do for me?" Right? And like you help your clients, and you're excellent in doing that. And that's what you want to convey, so they understand and they get to know you. Right. And this is why they can trust you, and this is why you're going to help them with finding their home.
Right.
Right.
Right. So on Facebook advice, do you have any? So I hear you loud and clear, and you know what? You're exactly right. I think that folks that are really professional business owners and professional real estate professionals, it's really difficult, especially in real estate, because you really are. It is part of your community, your network, your friends, your neighbors, and they're all hiring you to help them with their real estate transaction. So in that case, it probably makes more sense to have one page that you can maintain really well versus two. Any other tips on Facebook?
Make it about the people you're connected with. Do you go on there and look? A lot of people then sometimes are just voyeuristic and look. Compliment, ask a question, really engage. That's the key. Yeah. That's the key. And see what people write. Stories are really big, across the top. It's interesting when the ones I post personally outside of work, the ones that get the quote attention, you can see people have looked at it. The ones animals, reign supreme. Excuse me. And I think with Facebook, it's photos and video. Do a Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If we did one right now, I guarantee you, it'd be a few hundred people just start watching it.
Yeah.
Because it's movement.
That would have been smart.
Yeah, we're 6 feet apart. Yeah, we should
exactly.
Do it. Yeah.
So we're 10 feet.
Exactly.
I think easily. Yeah. So all right. So what about Instagram? You got any tips on Instagram? I'm just kind of rolling through.
Yes. So Instagram. So I started one a long time ago. I was teaching a class, and I grabbed Great Falls, VA. Okay, family lives there, blah blah blah. But I did it, and it was become the one for the park. And now I was just using it for everything I was interested in.
Right.
And nobody was following it. Right.
Yeah.
And then I thought, a little epiphany, right? It's Great Falls. So now everyone at the park is tagging it for the photos. So I've done 4 already today.
Yeah.
You know what I did? I just make it my story.
Yeah.
There's people out.
So you walk there every day.
I don't, but I go a fair amount. But
you send somebody over there with your phone every day.
Well, no, but they're people. It's funny you say that, because a lot of agents think I'm there every day.
Yeah, well, you post a lot of pictures of Great Falls.
Those aren't mine. I give them credit. They tag me.
Oh,
there are people right now, like this morning or this afternoon, but in the morning there were 3 to 4 people who were there, who took some nice photos. Yeah. And they tagged the location, so I made it the story.
And then somebody actually said, "Ed, don't you have a job?"
Yes. Yeah. Agent in Arlington. She thinks I go there every day. She
I did too.
Work.
Well, that explains it.
Yeah. But that's really interesting. So I'm learning it's not just one person. She goes, "Don't you ever do anything else?" I'm like, what is she talking about? I work all the time.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
But isn't that funny? So
you
can grab a site. Just think about that. You can grab something, and you can share, and other people will help you with the content.
Right.
That's doing the job.
And you know what? If anybody out there says all the names are taken, they're not. I guarantee you.
Good point.
I've been hearing that for 20 years.
Good point.
And if you sit down and put your brain to work,
good point,
you'll come up with a good name. All right. So anything on YouTube? Any comments?
Yeah, YouTube. I don't even know why I have FiOS anymore. I'm on YouTube every night.
Wow.
I'm always learning something. Give an example. Chris Voss was lead hostage negotiator for the FBI, retired, the Black Swan Group. Not a plug, but learned a lot from him. He's the one who says people do business with people. Can they trust you, and what can you do for them? Right. I watch his videos all the time.
Yeah.
I find things and people I want to learn from, and it can educate me and entertain, and I hang out on YouTube. Yeah, you're going to see some things we're doing coming up on YouTube soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I got my start on YouTube. I mean, that's where I
wow.
started, back in 2004, 2005, 2006, 7. I was posting videos on YouTube way back when, and they didn't get a lot of traction back then, but over the years,
That's
and
awesome.
I still have some of my really old videos online.
What's your favorite of all the ones you've done on YouTube?
Boy, that's a good question. I mean, I think 99% of all the videos I put online are educational about the home buying process.
Awesome.
And I did one video, and I think I just took it down recently. I was trying to purge some of the older stuff, but I really enjoyed making videos that helped people, right? And one of the things that I want to get back to this video and refresh it and modernize it is I used to own a water damage restoration company. Mm-hmm. And one of the number one reasons we got called to somebody's house because they had a flood was because there were leaves that got into an areaway drain, and it rained and it plugged the drain, and then the water kind of backed up in this areaway well and worked its way through the door into the basement. Oh, wow. So I came up with this really cool trick to prevent that from ever happening. Now, you can't just ignore the leaves forever, but if you have a little drain in the bottom of a areaway, it takes 3 or 4 leaves to cover it. One windstorm, one thunderstorm, and your basement was flooded. So I came up with this way to take a couple of grills that would go on a barbecue grill, mm-hmm. and then a big rubber, you would put those down on top of the drain, and then I put this big rubber mat over top of it, like for a restaurant floor. They mm-hmm. sell them at Lowe's mm-hmm. or Home Depot. It's like a 3-foot by 3-foot square. So now the leaves, the water would go through this mat, and the grill would hold the mat off the ground. So you would really have to have a lot of leaves to flood your basement. So I made that video back in 2006-ish. And had it up online, and it just got a tremendous amount of airtime. So
that's awesome.
That's the kind of thing I really enjoy doing. It's a little simple trick that you won't hear or see anywhere else. If I've seen anybody ever talk about it, I won't do it. So I look for the things that I can put out there that are unique to my experience.
Okay, I like that a lot.
So, all right, anything we missed? So YouTube, tell the story. Tell the story, solve a problem, and I think that gets you traffic for
Instagram,
sure.
videos, photos, hashtags with those.
So Twitch.
Don't use it. So, I only have so much capacity to focus.
Exactly. And I think that's a good point. You can do anything you want, but you can't do everything you want, right? And I say that to folks every day. So I think you've got to pick the platforms that you're most comfortable with. I think I'm big. I'll just say I'm really focused on Facebook and YouTube, and then digital marketing. Your top 2 are probably Twitter and Facebook,
correct?
Right?
Yes.
And I think 2 is a lot to manage unless you've got other people helping you.
Yes. It's what I think I may have said this last time, but this Gordon Ramsay, the chef, said a really good restaurant is going to have 10 items on the menu, and that's it. So your menu,
simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it high quality and simple.
Yeah. All right, let's take one quick break, and then we'll wrap up when we come back. Thanks, Ed. In case you missed it, here is a clip from episode 3 with Boomer Foster, president of Long & Foster Real Estate.
I think that the 2 things that I took away from being an athlete, whether it's just through high school and then into college, are leadership and hard work. Mm-hmm. Every day when I go into work, my mindset is, I'm not the smartest guy in the building in all likelihood, but nobody's going to outwork me. And that too came from when I first started practicing law in Charleston. One of the best lawyers down there, he looked at me and said, listen, you're not always going to be the smartest guy in a courtroom, but you can always outwork the other guy or girl that's on the other side. Mm-hmm. And so the way I approach my job, and it's been refined and evolved over the years, because it used to be like I was just a bull in a china shop. Mm-hmm. I'm going to work as hard as I can from the time I get up to the time I go to sleep at night, and good things are going to happen. And that did happen, but what I found is, as I started refining and started thinking about where I want to be and setting goals mm-hmm. and having a plan, when you put those things together with a work ethic, then the results are going to be very good if you have any sort of talent.
Welcome back. And Ed, really great conversation so far. It's always exciting to talk about ways to grow your business. And so in kind of wrapping it up here in our last segment, the question always is, rhetorically for the folks that are listening, what is your it? What is my it, right? And you have to do it. And I think each person listening who's interested in this topic has to figure out what their it is. So, or you were saying, Ed, tell the story.
Tell the story. Tell me what you see. Tell the world what you see. Ask the question you think people want to want to hear asked, or you want answered.
Right. And I think what most people, what I never understood when I was really trying to get focused on the social media marketing aspect of business is it is labor intensive. It is, and now we're talking about the it. For my organization, we have a team of people who do it.
You have an excellent team, and it's still a lot of work.
Yeah, thank you. But for the individual business owner who needs to do it, I'm putting it in quotation marks, you've got to have good habits. You've got to go out every day, and I think ready to post a tweet or post on Facebook, and you got to have some sort of an idea of what you want to try to do, and you got to focus on things that interest you.
Here's the it. Look through the photos you've taken. Scroll through. What story does each one of those photos tell you?
Right.
And if they don't tell you a photo, delete them.
Yeah.
Don't tell you a story, delete the photo, and hone your skills on. You don't have to be an excellent photographer. You don't have to be that even good. But it has to be something in there, right? If a picture's worth 1,000 words, you want one that's worth 1,001.
Right. Makes perfect sense. And I think getting your mindset in the right place to make it happen. If you don't have the right mindset, if you're not going to push yourself, if you're not going to hold yourself accountable, then you will not have success in your social media marketing campaign. You cannot do it one day a month or one day a week. You need to be out there and having a conversation with the folks in your sphere.
And you've got to believe it. John, you didn't ask me this, but I'll share this. I know a lot of folks who hire people to do it for them, the social media.
Right.
And that's fine. Hire someone who's great at doing it. But you got to be involved in it too. Because what they'll do is they'll set it and forget it. And I have commented and thought, why didn't they respond back?
Right.
I hired someone to do that.
And they don't care.
That's
right.
To me, that's just as bad as not doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah. The big thing for me personally is my name is behind everything that is online. And I stress about that. So I want to make sure that anybody that contacts us gets an answer. So
anyone who listens to this podcast, if they want help, it's Ed Schudel. I'm the only one in the United States. Just hit me up. I'll help you out.
Excellent.
I enjoy it that much.
Excellent. Wonderful. All right. Any last words of advice in closing this out? Anything come to mind and kind of wrapping it up, or anything you want to add to this conversation?
Try something you haven't tried before with social media and see how it goes.
Excellent. Ed, thank you again for coming in. Had a lot of fun. It's always great having a conversation with
Likewise.
you. And I look forward to our next conversation where we take on a new topic.
This was awesome, John. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ed. Once again, Ed, thank you for joining us. We've learned a lot from past guests and our own experiences that social media has its pros and cons. It can grow our business, but it can also consume our life. We have to find that happy medium and use it as a positive tool. Ed's given us some great tips, but the conversation isn't over. Thank you for tuning in to the Go With John show, and until next time, go build something extraordinary.